And that is the reason why they were very successful. However, let's see if Sanji, Sanford, Benacuti, and Carl Tizzi, as well as Yawi, will be warmed up today as well.
Honestly, I'm just worried about the draft here. Where do you attack this team? Where do you look for discrepancies in Echo? And based on what we saw here today, RRQ are looking more warm than ever to try and make it to that grand finals with Clay, R7, Skylar, Albert, and as well as Vin.
And like you guys said, right? RRQ already coming off a clean sweep. Yeah. So if it's a team to be warmed up, that was a great momentum for them here. And again, you can hear the crowd cheering for this squad. A lot is on the line here, obviously, but still, if you want to look from team to team here, RRQ Hoshi, man, they look good. And across the board, that's something that's in comparison between.
And that's very true with a lot of esports titles. What we saw from RRQ earlier on today, it's a different beast. And it's not only their players, but also their coaches. And that is the reason why they were very successful. However, let's see if Sanji, Sanford, Benacuti, and Carl Tizzi, as well as Yawi, will be warmed up today as well.
Honestly, I'm just worried about the draft here. Where do you attack this team? Where do you look for discrepancies in Echo? And based on what we saw here today, RRQ are looking more warm than ever to try and make it to that grand finals with Clay, R7, Skylar, Albert, and as well as Vin.
And like you guys said, right? RRQ already coming off a clean sweep. Yeah. So if it's a team to be warmed up, that was a great momentum for them here. And again, you can hear the crowd cheering for this squad. A lot is on the line here, obviously, but still, if you want to look from team to team here, RRQ Hoshi, man, they look good. And across the board, that's something that's in comparison between these two teams. And I got to say, I can't wait to see it unfold.
I really wanted to say that the RRQ that showed up today against Onyx Esports, they're totally different from what we saw from the previous days. They are a monster today. They woke up. You can't expect them to be on fire, especially against a team that is very mechanically good.
Well, let's welcome to the stage for another grueling battle, RRQ Hoshi.
Hear that crowd roar. Hear that crowd roar. I'm getting pumped for this. But their opponents are absolutely no slouches, having an extremely tight game against Blacklist International. And unfortunately, they want to meet their competitors once again in the grand finals.
Yeah, they'd love that rematch again. I mean, multiple times have they met. But you'd be surprised. I mean, I feel like a lot of people were even surprised. Let's say game one that they had against Blacklist International, where it was a very dominant game in favor of Echo here. And, I mean, across the board, very similar thing. Just every roll in check there. You can feel it, right? You know where the crowd's feeling here for the teams.
And that's why we have competitions like this. That's why we have international competition ahead of us for Echo. Surely this is not the first time that they will be on stage against the Indonesian crowd, but today they have to perform even when the odds are against them.
Well, making their way to the stage, loud and proud, it's Echo.
Look, the boys are already here today, and with the leadership and experience coming in from Carl Tizzi, he's got a bunch of youngins who are ready to pop off here today, and that's what we should expect, you know? The youngins looking to rise up to take over the next generation of mobile legends.
That's a great point, because that's kind of what we saw just in their journey throughout the MPL Philippines to the point where they are now, where, you know, they had a lot of that veterancy, that experience coming out from Carl Tizzi, even from his experience on the world stage, right? And you see that in their gameplay. And as the teams and players give the respect that's needed here, again, integrity super important here in the M4 World Championship. Even given the situation, the stakes, you of course want that sportsmanship there. We're going to be looking at the team head-to-head here in just a second, sometimes even on their own. But here we go. I know the crowd is ready for it, and so are we. And around the globe, everybody else watching, we're going to be loading into the draft here, into a best of 5. It's game number 1 already. Bands coming out, RRQ. Going to be on the blue side. We got Echo on the red. The Cho and Fredrin band actually coming out from RRQ to kick it off. Echo taking out the Wan and the Joy.
It looks like they're already taking out standard trademark picks coming in from Echo immediately. Yeah. The Fredrin just really consistent overall. Yawi just excellently performs and consistently as well on a Cho. And then we look back at Echo immediately. Wan, they get rid of the Joy. I'm not too surprised if it's going to be Yves or even Carry.
Yeah, and the Joy has been RRQ's bread and butter, especially when they went up against Falcon, when they want to prioritize that hero as much as possible. They also pick it up in multiple roles, and that is very true with how RRQ perform against Onyx Esports as well. So I will not be surprised if both Fredrin, Cho, and Joy will be constantly banned all throughout the series.
With that ban coming out in Glue, I was actually surprised by it because I was thinking maybe RRQ wants to prioritize that. We saw R7 do very similar things on the Glue like he did with the Joy. But now this leaves a lot still here up for grabs. Eve, like you mentioned, is still open. A lot of, I mean, even the carry is taken out here. There it is, right? Now, Eve is locked in, but real quick, let's take a look at this quote from R7. I hope Indonesia is in the upper and lower. Unfortunately, we meet in the lower. Hopefully, one of us can make it to the final to face the Philippines, and I know a lot of people around the world are hoping for that.
Honestly, I'm tired of the Filipinos dynasty that has been set since M2, and RRQ just might be that one trainer who's going to beat the Elite Four and maybe try and take out the champion at the very end. This is one step away from greatness, from the point of which of no return. We're seeing the Kaja, and as well as Sanford, he's going to get his Yuzong, of course. Very standard picks all across the board, but now we see the Beatrix as well as the Grok, which begs the question here. Are they looking to try and shut down Benny QT?
Yeah, absolutely. But then again, you now have a shot at Echo, right? They can pick up the marksman right now. But, okay, it's a Harith. Well, instead of like picking up a hardcore marksman, hard carrying marksman for Benny QT, they put in the Harith. Although it's a hard carry still, right? If you think about it. But then again, it's a more mid-tempo kind of marksman or gold laner, which kind of tells me that this is the time where Echo will pick up a hero for Carl Teasy that will scale into the late game.
Yeah, I just don't like, the only thing I don't like about Harith is really if you have a bad start, it's shut down for pretty much the entirety of the game. And it's so hard to get that scalability in comparison to what we've seen with Beatrix, which is so weird because going back to the group stage, she had an abysmal win rate. It was like 25, 30%. But now you see teams, I feel like a switch has been flipped with Beatrix in particular, especially in the hands of Skylar. And going back to the key to victory for RRQ, if it ain't broke, just pick Grok.
Don't fix it. Don't bother fixing it. And I think, it's really good that Echo didn't fall for the fact of, hey, Grok is flexible and therefore we should expect him in a couple of these positions. They're focusing down on the main issue, which is Vin. And Vin has been having a stellar performance throughout M4 for a good amount of time. And even RRQ giving a lot of respect to Sanji as well, banning out that Valentina, making sure that he's not going to have that many flexible options when it does come down to the dive, which begs the question, Farmist, question mark, should they ban it out here?
I guess because they are considering picking it up themselves. It's probably why they will not be banning it out. I'm looking at the past matches of RRQ Hoshi. They do pick it up when they have a Grok. They combo Framis and Grok to go up against something like a Harith or a marksman, a hard marksman.
Curveball, what about Kadita?
I love it. It's one of my personal favorites. It also looks good for the side of RRQ Hoshi. It fits the bill of what they want to achieve, right? It's a very RRQ-ish hero. You can also give that to Echo, though. But at this kind of draft, maybe the Kadita will not be considered by Echo themselves.
Okay, so Carl Teasy opting for that utility jungle route, focused on the objectives. We've seen a lot of this, right? And I mean, at the same time, it is still a safe hero because of the fact that you can kind of brute force your way into those objectives. You have that immune to CC for a little bit. You got the Daytona's welcome. And still, this is a lot of pick-off potential because it's highlighted with the Kaja, but still, can they capitalize on those kills? Because even across the board, they're going to be fighting in the death box. They're going to have to deal with wild charges from angles that they're not expecting. And if Skylar can come online on this Beatrix like we've seen him before, it is a lot of work for Echo here.
Yeah. How about a Martis for Albert for RRQ Hoshi? Then they just have to utilize this Grok on the XP lane, get another roamer that can help them suppress this Kaja. And there's the Martis.
Yeah, but we're also seeing a Lapu Lapu as well, which does mean that Vin will have access to that Grok as the support. He needs to make sure that when he's playing around Yaoi, he doesn't get caught himself, which is something that he's able to do. And there we go. That's the Kadita that we were expecting to see coming in from Echo. Nicely done, boys, here up at the desk.
Man, it's weird to see that both Kaja and Kadita picked up in one team, but there's a lot of like -1 potential coming out from Echo. Really, what they want to play with. Is it a double down? Right? Is it too much for having both Kadita and Kaja? We're not so sure, but we might see that.
That's a great point, because honestly, if you already use the Divine Judgment, and if the Rough Waves are gone, you lose a lot in both categories, right? A lot of pickoff potential, a lot of firepower even. So you almost have to 100% guarantee that you get that numbers advantage if you're Echo here, because if it doesn't play in your favor, then that's going to be bad news for Echo and better for RRQ here as they get ready to go.
Well, this is such a stressful game here. I can't imagine what it's going to be like. Hopefully you guys are going to be sticking around because you won't want to miss a second of this. Let's jump right into it.
Into the land of dawn we go. The last chance for Indonesia to make it to the grand finals. And it starts now.
We're going to see Vin is going to be controlling that Grok. So this is the roam Grok, and then the Lapu Lapu will be the ones to fight against the Yu Zhang. We've seen it before. The Lapu Lapu can win against the Yu Zhang. Let's see Echo with early game comp. Can they actually close this one out before RRQ scales?
I personally think that they absolutely can, but it really depends on that momentum at the end of the day. What Vin is chill. Oh, he's holding back the waves again. For the second round of it. Okay, interesting. Usually it's just dedicated to one lane, but now we're seeing Yawi trying to go up to help Benny QT out to try and make sure that Skylar doesn't get too far ahead or at least holds that control.
Yeah, I mean, you're relying a lot once again here for Skylar to just kind of pop off mid to late game. That's going to be crucial for them. And at the same time, RRQ's got to avoid all those picks that Echo's going to be looking for. And if anything, the fact that you have two Petrifies to work against, you've got to really be conscious of that, right? In those lockdown moments, because, I mean, even here, Sanford are going to be just fine. But again, going back to the point, especially when objectives are being contested, the angles from Sanford with the Black Dragon form and even looking out for Sanji is always something the teams going against a Kadita have to work for. It's a constant, pretty much mind game for both of these teams.
See the focus coming out from RRQ Hoshi. Make sure that the laning stage is good for their side. Even when they're not really putting a lot of effort into the gold lane, the fact that they're controlling the minion wave so that it will be in the favor of Skylar, that's already them saying we want to make sure that the laning stage is ours.
All right, well, first turtle now up here. You're going to see everybody in position for this as it's crucial for their momentum. Carl Teasy going to start it up.
Yep, Black Dragon form already jumping into the back line. Is Carl Teasy in trouble as R7's already done it, but he secures it, and Lapu Lapu ensures first blood. Albert now trying to get on out of the situation, and finally Yaoi hits level 4. Divine Judgment has already been connected, and they have to back off. It's a 2-for-1 trade.
A massive win coming out from Echo, despite them losing a Carl TC. They got 2 kills afterwards, and then the turtle. They gave so much XP as well to Echo. That means that Echo will be in a very comfortable spot. We said the laning stage, the early game should be for Echo, and that's what they are now getting.
Oh, Skylar now losing his flicker as well. Purple buff under threat by Yaoi. He doesn't have his all, but Kadita on the opposite side of the map looking to make sure they hold and playing for EXP here.
He just took it.
That's the worst feeling in the world. Truly losing your purple buff this early on, man.
Yeah, tough situation there. I mean, you know, Yaoi. Oh, Vin.
Wall charge already connected onto Benny QT. He's trying to get on out of there. Yaoi unable to punish for the time, it being Albert is there. So now the rest of Echo is going to start backing off, but a majority of Echo's numbers on the bottom side of the map. We're seeing R7 actually committing to this fight, forcing out. Didn't see that Petrify. He's still good.
Rack number 1, internal secure, but I want to say top lane, you saw Vin commit the wall charge. Want to go for Benecutie? They didn't even force the Purify onto Benecutie because they missed that wild charge. It wasn't able to knock that off.
Oh, the combination was clean. Sanford sets it up. Sanji knocks it out of the park. And here comes Albert. Can he turn this around? Black Dragon form and get on out of there to ensure that the Decimate doesn't pick him off.
You know you're happy when you're playing the Yuzhong and you can just do that, right? You play it a little bit dangerous, a little risky, and you just go ahead and pop the dragon form and fly off on the map. Works great, but at the same time, you notice Yaoi spending a lot of time here on the top side. The focus is Skylar. Vin's there to help him up, but right now, numbers advantage should be even out. Albert also getting wind of this, just in the area, just in case. Now Turtle's up here. You're going to see both teams swing into position, and once again, Does Echo secure this next objective?
Well, let's find out here. Watchon comes through, but the Tonos walk finds it. Yaoi flickers forward, finds one, instantly taken out Beatrix straight away. Skylar can't do much about it, and Albert finds one, getting chained into two. Yes, he can. Benny QT with the Salmon Force gets on Adler, doesn't want to be a part of that.
Well, beautiful start for Echo. You saw that they were able to snag Skylar. That was one great ultimate coming up from Yaoi, then Sanji with the damage. However, Albert finding the opening, he kind of conceded the turtle control for them to take more kills. That's the reason why they have taken some gold away from Echo, and despite them losing that turtle fight, it kind of felt like RRQ is starting to feel that they can equalize this game.
RRQ knows that they have a disadvantage when it comes to those areas of objective takes, those neutral objectives, right? Especially because you can't expect to just get Carl Teasy out of there. He's playing the Barretts for a reason. So if you can actually just stay alive, no one goes down, convert into kills, especially on, let's say, Skylar Albert, you're going to profit big time. Hold on.
Oh, he doesn't land the ult. He manages to flicker out just in time there, but Sanji is in position. Do they know that he's even there? Albert, he might be in some trouble. Full combination. No, he doesn't commit to it. Sanji decides to walk away. Wild Charge connects onto Benny QT. Snipe comes through. Benny QT still alive. And Yaoi making sure he has vision. Carl TZ to back him up to ensure no dives are going to happen. But Sanji is creeping up back into the tri-brush here. Do they know? Is he going to find his connection? No, sees Albert. It's just not worth his time. Even we're seeing Benny QT just holding on to that lane. And Sanford walking up mid.
War of attrition. It's the battle for territories now for both teams. They just want to make sure that there's no team that will have the advantage up top where the gold laners are. And this is massive focus for both teams. They know what the win conditions are. Whoever gets the better farm in the gold lane will have a better shot in the mid game.
Well, something doesn't seem right here. Bottom side actually getting fully dolped on, and that's what we want to see. R7 goes down. They command the map, and now the turtle is in full control over Echo as the reinforcements are on their way. Cartesi is playing it as slow as he can. As soon he'll have to pop the Daytona's welcome. Yaoi finds it once again. Clay flickers on out there, but Sanford should be able to find the kill. It lands onto two. Albert is on his way out. Sanji gets the knock up, and Vin, unable to do anything, must walk away.
You see what's going on here, right? It's all angles that you have to watch out for if you're RRQ here. It's either Sanford come from the backside, Sanji popping out of nowhere, and it's tough for RRQ to handle right now. They're trying to constantly catch their breath, but at this time it's already falling apart. You're almost 4K ahead here for Echo.
Yeah. You saw like Yaoi in the first turtle fight, he went from the right side. This time he went from the left side, catching RRQ off guard. But my oh my, Echo with a wonderful smart outplay or outwit of RRQ during the turtle fight. That second turtle, they delayed the take of the turtle so that they will have the advantage in the team fight.
And topside already crushed, as well as mid-tier 1. Sanford here, knowing that he can disrespect the space. He has a level lead. And I think, Skylar, with the rest of RRQ, might be in some trouble here as the rest of Echo pulls their attention and resources down to the bottom side of the map. Vin has to walk on out, but Carl Teasy and as well as Yaoi start taking the space into the bottom side jungle here. They have to move away. They cannot do anything about this.
Oh man, you can already see it. Look at the pressure, right? I mean, knowing that Yaoi's there on that Kaja, Sanji and Sanford were waiting patiently too. They just completely press RRQ off that tier 1, and they're able to secure themselves some more space on the map here, Wolf.
Massive map control from Echo. Even Carl TZ just running around 1v5.
Oh, he gets knocked up here. Full combination onto Carl TZ so far. He now uses the Daytona's welcome. Decimate lands, but it doesn't matter as Sanji finds his own target into Clay. They trade 1 for 1 for now jungler for mid lane.
Skylar's just amazing. I mean, all throughout the day, right? You saw him perform in their series against Onyx Esports. Now he's performing once again. Despite him dying once, you saw how masterful he is with a sniper as well, dealing out the damage against Carl TZ. But definitely we said, Carl TZ, way too brave. 1v5, not going to work out for him.
Well, honestly, as of right now, I feel like Echo, and especially when we're looking at Carl TZ, now that he's switched his role, he's not looking to hard carry this game. He's looking to be the foundation for the rest of his team members to actually step up. And Sanford Yaoi is looking really good, but Sanji in particular, just the control that he has.
Well, that's what I'm saying. At this point, Carl TZ, especially when he plays these utility-type junglers, he's more of that, it seems like the shot caller and just is that vision for the team, for everybody else to shine here. And sometimes we see those moments even for RRQ, but right now, again, with momentum being a big thing in most of these games, Echo having control here, it's going to be really tough for RRQ to contest this first Lord. You also got a glimpse of the items. Skylar, I think, only has VOD unless he picked up a second one, but able to get the top side turret some more space, but Sanford's up there, and the fight ensues.
It's a 4v4, the top side, hopefully we don't see, the solo kill already connects onto Skylar. Betty QT now zoning out the rest of them. Nothing that RRQ can really do now that Sanford's coming back to make the numbers in their favor. 4v5 doesn't seem ideal, but it's instantly we're seeing the Divine Judgment lock down 1. 5 members against 3. Sanford now getting in front of Albert as Yawi is disrespecting R7, trying to make something happen here. The Bravest Warrior gets locked up into the Albert gets locked down, but he still manages to get on out. Sanford is still alive, but now the backline is done for. R7 is the next to fall. A 2-for-1 trade, maybe even one more. Benny QT unable to find it.
What a play coming out from Carl TC, just snagging one of the members of RRQ to save his teammates as well. And he even utilized the Daytona's welcome onto his opponent so that they'll land the double stun. Unfortunately, Echo weren't able to kill up Albert, but they did take out the Lord, and now they're controlling the purple buff as well. Echo with the economic advantage.
Well, right now, you can see that advantage, how confident it makes Echo. And even just like you said, Carl TZ walking around 1 versus 5. He doesn't really care at this point. So, I mean, Wolf, what does RRQ need to do to get back into this game? It's 5K ahead for Echo.
Well, they have to concede the control to the map control now for Echo. Just utilize Albert or maybe R7 to kind of split push the waves and allow for Skylar and Clay to just farm the incoming waves. So it's going to be totally defensive now for RRQ Hoshi. Echo's power spike is literally right now mid-game. They have to respect that.
Yep, Sanford coming in. Yawi finds the catch once again. Good spatial awareness, and the outer turret will fall as Echo now with a 5-man pushing into the inhibitors against 4. RRQ playing hyper defensively. Albert has to clear these waves so far. But we see on the bot side, even Carl TZ doesn't mind, proxies the wave, and that's going to be every single outer turret, very systematic coming out of Echo.
It's going to be difficult for RQ to defend this, especially when Yawi's just finding all of these openings. Yawi already has got a fleeting time. That means that from here on out, you're always afraid of Yawi. Like every 30 or every minute, I mean, there's a threat of the Divine Judgment one shot.
I mean, just at this point, slowly whittling down the base here of RRQ. Echo knowing that they're in full control at this point. And this is, again, referring back to the series we saw with Blacklist International, this is what Echo does, right? When they have this lead, they don't let go.
Oh, the wall charge connects, but Yawi was able to get his animation off in time, and now Sanford coming in with the Black Dragon form, looking to try and get a punish here. Echo find nothing, but with the 7K lead, RRQ do not want to get in that.
My goodness, even just the plans of RQ, it's not even working at this point. This is because of the fact that Echo does have the map control, but you have to respect that if you're RQ. Why not just farm? Echo, though, they're doing the lane freeze so that they force out. They're like smoking out the members of RQ, get out of their base by freezing the minion waves.
Well, I mean, that's, again, going back to this whole point, like you have Grok. Yes, it was a key to victory. If it ain't broke, you know, keep picking Grok. But this time, Vin hasn't been able to find the targets he wants to, but let's say he does. What damage do you have to throw at Echo right now? You know, I think Clay and Skylar both have a couple items, but it's still hard to get through that front line. And even if you do, you've got every other angle to worry about, right? And Sanji so far, 6-0-3, rocking the Petrify here. Can most likely one combo everybody from RQ, except maybe Vin and Albert, right? R7 is even in quite a bit of danger with this Lapu Lapu pick. So now, next Lord up here, Echo. Oh,
Vin, he finds 2, and the real one manipulation comes on down. They find one pick, like you were talking about, Sanji. No time to react in time, and now RRQ are in position to maybe hit a Lord here. Let's see how they play out, because Albert might be in some trouble. Yawi is again threatening him with the Divine Retribution. Carl TZ getting zoned out for now, but he's really far ahead of the team. Yawi once again looking at Albert's positioning. Albert making sure that he doesn't get locked down for the time being. R7 looking for something against Sanford here, but the same goes for Albert. He's got to be so careful as the mid wave gets pushed in. We see Skylar get locked down, but Yawi, the counter engagement. Sanford now looking to punish the backline instantly. They find Skylar, no looking for him. Albert's trying to run Vin with a wild charge to make it out of there. And once again, the economic advantage from Echo still puts them ahead.
Definitely agree with you, Gideon. It's just the items that allowed Echo to really just hammer through like a bantering ram against RRQ Hoshi, but also the dive potential. Even after they were able to take out Sanji, there's still Yaoi, there's still Sanford. So many heroes that can go to the backlines, and Skylar only does have one dash and one flicker. It wasn't enough to keep himself alive during that skirmish. Echo now wins the economic battle.
And that's what I'm saying, right? Even if you expend all those resources from RRQ to find one member of Echo, at this point in the game, it's not going to be enough. They have to figure out how to stall the game further, allow Skylar, allow Clay to get the items they need, and then those sets from Vin will result in 2 more. Winning those team fights, winning those even skirmishes, if they can get 2 down from Echo, 3 down maybe, is much better. But as this game progresses, it's 9K ahead for Echo, and it's showing here as the Lord marches the mid.
This is going to be a guaranteed inhibitor, but topside is collapsing at the same time. R7 is trying to slow it down, but now the engagement happens, and immediately Sanford with the Black Dragon Ball with the help from Salmon Force, the back line getting attacked by R7, but it really doesn't matter here as the Shroud Residue keeps Sanford alive. Immediately, we see Skylar fall once again, and that is going to be that. Wait, hold on, Yaoi, they're trapped. They're locked in there. They can't seem to be getting out of here with the barrier already down. Yeah, Benny QT jumps into Salmon Force once again to finally turn this fight around. They're phasing through everybody, and R7 is just looking helplessly. R7 tries with the Bravest Warrior, but the rest of them are looking to end this game. Carl Teasy is walking backwards with Sanji as well. Doesn't want to jump in. It's too threatening. As Divine Judgment comes on through, Knockup connects. Rough Wave's not going to be committed. Daytona's welcome. Throws him against the turnstile, and that is going to be game number 1 for Echo.
First blood drawn here by Echo.
Just what, you know, the M4 has developed into at this stage of the game, then immediately we're talking about supports. And that's something that we did see in game number 1 that Echo took advantage of. I want to see RRQ take advantage of it in game number 2.
Only for the Eve. It's a Clay special, but maybe against a team like Echo where you want to take control of the tempo. Maybe you don't go for those passive type of heroes. Maybe we give Clay a proactive hero in the mid lane, maybe a Farsa perhaps, or Lilia, right? So that they can dictate the tempo themselves. We'll see. So far, the Fredrid, the 1-1, the Glue, these 3 heroes that we said that will be constantly banned in this game. I think you ban out the carry as well if you're RQ. Don't give Benny Cutie that comfortable hero.
I was going to say, that's what it's looking like, right? You kind of have that decision. Whoa. They don't. So this is, I would say 99% going to be a carry here.
Yeah.
Right? Let's expect it.
It's carry.
Okay, it's carry.
So this is Eve and Yuzhong. If you're RRQ Hoshi, hopefully they are very comfortable. Well, they are, but they are 2 great heroes to counter that out. There you go.
Wow, called it right on the dot. Eve and as well as Yuzhong here. R7 is going to have a lot of work on his hands because, again, it does boil down to whether or not he can actually catch Benny QT with the Petrify and then look to go for the full combination, chuck her down to half HP maybe, and that would be ideal for the rest of the team to kind of clean them up. But Winds of Nature is such a powerful item. It's rather frustrating for backline divers to deal with such a simple counter.
Cho.
On top of that, Echo going to get their hands on this Cho pick, which we know does wonders in the hands of Yaoi, but also the Grok is there. Their quick response on the other side, it's RRQ taking up the Diggy.
I mean, in the presence of what? 2 of the greatest crowd control heroes out there, the Cho and the Grok. Pick up the Diggin and then you're fine. Does it look like an RRQ Hoshi hero, though? That's the question. Because, again, they want to be aggressive. Unless they utilize this Diggy in an aggressive manner.
I think they absolutely can. And now that they know that Grok is probably, he could go, is most likely going to go into the EXP lane, I would assume at this point, but I'm going to hold my breath for a second because based on what we're seeing that's being banned here from RRQ, I wouldn't be too surprised if they do decide to ban out the Lilia and then really minimizes what Sanji can play. He might have to just default to the Kagura.
That's right. But then again, for RRQ Hoshi, what they will have problems about is that their marksman hero pool will be diminished now. With a Fanny ban late into the game, it's pretty surprising. Are we seeing a Claude or maybe a Leslie ban from Echo? Well, it's a Claude ban. So what's left for Skylar then?
Unless we see something new like we did in the couple previous days, right? Where we saw Melissa, Moskov. You have those options because a lot is banned out here. So really it's kind of up to what position you
Yeah.
want to allow Skylar to be in, right? When you have this Diggy, when you have this Eve, you have to play around that and allow your gold lane to shine, especially across from you as a carry who has been dominating in terms of marksman picks, gold lane picks, and you know how much she's going to be shredding those initiators.
Oh, here we go.
Okay.
The next lock-in coming in from RRQ. It's going to be Karina. Okay, I like it. I like it. At least Karina can get
There
on
go
top
Barrett.
of the carry.
Oh,
Finally. Okay, they're shaking things up. I was
Okay.
expecting the Barats too. Hilda as well as the Valentina. I'm surprised that RRQ didn't pick it for themselves, the Valentina in particular, but nicely done. I think Echo, this is looking like a really solid draft.
yeah, is this a Cho jungle or a
Cho
Grok
jungle, most likely. Unless they decide to flex the...
The Cho, right? But I think it's a Cho jungle myself.
Is the proof that
Oh,
I'm still
okay.
alive.
Well, we haven't talked about Brody much. I would say that it's rather 50-50 in terms of Brody alone, right? You really need to be able to scale up. You really need to be able to get your marks off and then the torn apart memories. The damage can be great, but still, like what we saw, you could say the same thing about Beatrix last game. Damage can be phenomenal, but if you can't actually get in range, you can't get the targets you need to, that's where it struggles.
I guess for the side of RRQ Hoshi, they now have to play the RRQ Hoshi way where they are very aggressive. Don't let this composition coming out from Echo to build up when it comes to the momentum and the farm. Carry will be a problem in the latter portions of the game. They have to make sure that this Brody Karina duo carry should output the damage in the early to the mid game.
Well, we're going to find out in just a couple of seconds as we're loading up here. Again, Echo taking the first blood in the series. Best of 5, Land of Dawn beckons. And we're jumping into game number 2.
All right, here we go. Let's see how game 2 is going to present itself here, especially with the way the lanes could possibly end up turning around. I'm a little worried because, again, it really depends on where Yaoi kind of wants to go. He could technically help out a lane. He could technically instantly look for these invades. But I think overall, it's better to help out that lane because Brody is going to bully Benny QT for a majority of this game.
Yeah, how do you feel about that, Wolf? I mean, especially with those matchups, even Carlo Tizzi on this Cho, are they going to get that much value out of it, or are they going to be relying more so on Yaoi to just cause havoc?
Yeah, I think that Carl Tizzi is more like he's gonna be the frontliner. This Cho will not be like a sniping Cho with those flickers because this is a retribution Cho. So you're kind of first in, and then Sanford and Yaoi will be the ones to kind of give up. Find the better targets. For example, Yaoi can just skip the front lines, get to the back lines, find Clay, and then pressure those backliners for RRQ Hoshi instead of like Cho looking for the better targets.
Oh, but up outside, R7 might be in a little bit of trouble. It gets full hit by the power of nature called TZ. He's going to hit 4 off of this. R7 might want to get out of there for now, but Albert on the opposite side of the map already just hitting his level 4, just power farming his way. Let's see how Echo is going to respond as Turtle's coming up in 30 seconds.
Yeah, Albert farming quite quickly here, expected with Jungle Emblem.
Yep, and oh, Cartesi instantly making the play onto Clay so far, forcing out the flicker, but instantly Albert able to respond. Shadow Dance looking so very good. First blood falls into the hands of RRQ.
Great idea coming out from Echo, but unfortunately, RRQ Hoshi are prepared for it. Clay even had the flicker back then, so that's why that play was questionable, kind of questionable for Echo. Surely you will have the damage, but knowing that the Eve does have the flicker, it's too much risk. What a stun.
Is he still alive here? Skylar might actually get the trade. Now he survived with just 1 HP. Nicely done. On the opposite side of the map is Echo. Start the turtle, R7, Black Dragon form. Sanford instantly getting the knockoff onto Albert, but it doesn't really matter as the real one manipulation has forced them out. Echo has got what they want. Petrified from R7 is going to turn it around, but no. Way of the Dragon kicking the Black Dragon underneath the turret, securing the kill and making sure Sanji's life is worthwhile.
Oh, Sanji with a stolen times journey. The entire turtle fight of RRQ Hoshi is based on the fact that they have to be the ones to stun up Echo. They have what? The dragon form, they have Eve's control, but that was completely nullified with a stolen Diggy ultimate. And RRQ even lost the retribution battle as Kong TZ and Sanford just made sure that they zone out Albert all the time. Turtle fight is what Echo really banks on in the knockout stages.
RRQ has to be able to win those turtle fights, to win those even Lord fights later on here. And as you even saw a glimpse of the items, you see that already Benny Cutie locking in that corrosive scythe, going to be trying to farm up. A lot of attention here. Top side, though.
Well, let's see how they're going to play it out. Cartesi might be able to make the play again, but Albert is ready for him this time with 4v4 up on this top side, and Turtle coming up in 47 seconds. Looks like nothing's going to happen for the time being. Wait, Yaoi? Oh, no, they back off here.
That'd be very tense now for RRQ. We did say that they need to control the tempo of this game. They have to be the ones to get out of the laning stage with a better economy, but it seems like Echo, with just one turtle fight, they now are controlling it. It's not over though. RRQ Hoshi, if they find an opening, come the second turtle of the game, maybe they can snowball out of that. But otherwise, Echo will just take over the game.
Speaking of snowball, RRQ ranked first in damage dealt per minute? I wasn't expecting that, honestly.
I wasn't either, but even when we got a look at that little hexagon graph thing, I mean, you could, in the stats, you could see that they love those team fights. And even the fact that the journey they've had up to this point, this matchup with Echo, they've had to go against some of those more aggressive teams on the way, right? And so they've kind of adopted this playstyle for RRQ, whether it's that scrappy, aggressive playstyle or even that utility kind of objective-based. Now, that's the thing. This is the fight for them. And still, a lot of this focus here on these neutral objectives early on. Turtle, quite low.
Yep, so low. Real world manipulation is already up, but the time journey is spent by both sides. Black Dragon form is in. R7's waiting for the opportunity to jump on in for the Petrify. Finds one instantly, comboing with Albert. Shadow Execution's looking so very nice right now, but Cartesi still has his retribution, looking for an opportunity. Reverse time is going to send him back, but it doesn't matter. They find that turtle.
That's exactly what they have to do, right? RRQ, if they can grab a kill, great. But if you can at least get those objectives where you start getting that favor in your advantage, allow yourself to allow Skylar, hell, even Clay, to come online faster this game. That's best case scenario. Let's see how this all goes. Items being picked up here, Wolf.
We did say that RRQ Hoshi needed to control that second turtle. They have to take it. We put a lot of emphasis in that, and that's exactly what they did. That's why now they have equalized. They now have the advantage. And this is off of Vin's usage of the ultimate as well as Clay. The angle that he utilized, the real-world manipulation, put Sanford in a very bad spot because Sanford had to use the wild charge. Surely it was able to attack Clay, but of course Clay will not be stunned up, will not be able, his ultimate will not be cancelled because of that. And as a result, you have Echo not having a frontliner already, with him being taken out by RRQ Hoshi.
This is a difficult thing for Sanji to decide, right? When you're running this Valentina, you've got great three options across from you, right? Do you take the Times Journey, the real world manipulation, or maybe even that Black Dragon form? And that's tough, but now you can see RRQ, knowing this minor advantage they built themselves, they're going to keep pressing the issue here. Now they have one turret down as well. They can work around with that space, but still, this also allows Skylar to continue to farm up with somewhat of a safety measure. And if Vin continues to protect Skylar, this is the best thing that can happen for him right now in this portion of the game.
I think for the most part of it, right? Bottom side, R7's got to be careful here. If he jumps on forward, Benny QT is going to kill him. So now they're dividing and conquering. 3 on top side, 2 on bottom. Sanford finds an angle for a flicker wild charge, which almost resulted into a kill. R7 is still alive. Black Dragon wants to get on out of there as Tier 1 falls. Tier 2 is the next to drop.
Man. I was just about to say, there was a lot of focus on RRQ Hoshi up top lane. If R7 keeps himself alive and defend the turret up down bottom, that will be a favorable trade for RRQ Hoshi. And boy, oh boy, R7, he did not fail us. Even with the flicker usage coming out from Echo, he's able to get out of there.
Yep, but with real-world manipulation already used in the mid lane, this turtle will go over to RRQ Hoshi, now developing a lead for themselves. Is this the momentum? Is this the turnaround? Clay ends up dying to Benny QT already. Sanford with Power Nature fights the wild charge. No, he instantly uses his ult to get him out of there, but it's timed out, and now he's getting kicked back by the woods. By the way, the Dragon, Yaoi is able to secure the kill, but Cartesi is able to get the trade. Yaoi's the next, should be the next to fall. R7 doesn't pick him up. Skylar, no, he hit the tower twice.
That is a disaster there for RRQ. I mean, they found a couple setups and everything else, but they couldn't capitalize to make it even further in their favor, Wolf.
Oh, very scrappy fight from both teams. You saw, however, BenQ not scrappy himself, finding Clay even after the flicker. Because of the fact that Clay kind of reacted a split second later than he should, he was taken out by the projectiles coming out from BenQ. Eventually, Carl Tizzy wanted to go for Vin. Yeah, surely they did for some time journey as well as the flicker, but man, they exchanged for a kill. And Carl Tizzy dying twice already in this game. That's not good for Echo.
Oh, the damage coming in from Skylar as well.
Yeah, picking up right there, that moment before he popped that torn apart memory, he picked up the Malefic Roar. You can see it, right? Skylar's in a comfortable position now, has the items that he needs on this Brody, can continue to put pressure wherever he decides to be. You see Vin and Clay parking themselves a lot of times around him because if anyone gets trapped in that death box, it's going to be tough for them to deal with. But still at this point, RRQ now a little bit of a comfortable lead to work with. Can they transition to this into a First Lord pickup?
Oh, they should. It's imperative for the side of RRQ Hoshi to take care of that Lord again. Echo does have good scaling, but RRQ Hoshi, they do have a big advantage already. You can see and feel Skylar now with his power spike. At 9 minutes in, it's the mid game. We know that the weapon master Brody is gonna pack up a punch. It's something that RRQ is utilizing right now.
Ooh,
Power
yeah.
advantage!
No, he gets that. No way he gets that. But now, with no Shattered Memories here, Maltese may have a little bit of difficulty getting on in. Has been forced to flicker on out of here as Sanford is able to get some good damage for the time being. But that's going to be Lord. Time Journey already being used, but instantly dying over to Saji. And Saji ends up getting traded back. Skylark gets kicked, and now with him dead, this allows BenQ to keep on going forward. He doesn't care anymore, but Albert is running off crazy. They fight it a 3-for-2 trade in favor of RRQ.
How did Skylar survive that? What a play there. And also a misstep by Echo. They couldn't capitalize on that kill. BenQ was out of that fight. And now it's RRQ driving down with his momentum.
Well, the way that he survived there was great. And he didn't panic. Also, I would like to credit, he dodged the Guardian's Barrier. This is high-end dry rock with a lot of attack items. That's why even the Guardian's Barrier would have taken him off. Instead of fully backing down, he actually stopped for a bit so that he will not be hit by the Guardian's Barrier materializing in front of him. Skylar is cracked.
Oh, they're going so far right now with the momentum. Maltese getting a good kick onto Diggy so far, but here comes the Black Dragon form to zone them up. Maltese is stuck, he's trapped, he's dead, and now the rest of the team is going to be hitting onto the inhibitor. The Lord is already down, but the real world manipulation looking to turn it around. Time Journey to get his team out of there. RRQ have got what they want, and now they back off.
And now it's RRQ's time to play with this momentum in their favor, and they're doing exactly that. Wolf, what did this last couple minutes here transition? It's only 11 minutes into the game. How's it looking for RRQ?
Oh, definitely looking good for RRQ. This is their power spike, as we talked about. But then again, we also look at the other components of their composition. With the Divine Glaive available for the Eve, who opted to go for the penetration boots this time, Clay will be hurting a lot of Echo. Despite it, you're looking at the real-world manipulation, you don't really look at the damage that it outputs, but with all of the items that Clay was able to get, he is now going to be a threat. Look at that though, Queen Swings coming up from R7.
And at the same time, as we get ready for this next pretty much push, or maybe it's the next Lord here, what does Echo have to do to get back into this game, Wolf? I mean, they're down to 5,000 gold. They've only got 2 turrets. RRQ owns their side of the map.
Well, they have to find a way to kick R7, or Skylar, into their favor. They have the damage to BenQ already. They have the items that they needed. But the fact of the matter is they are not finding good jumps onto Skylar.
I don't think it's that easy as well.
It's
a lot of
not.
it really just comes down to Carl Tizzy and Sanford. They're the only people who can really do it. And even Sanji, whatever he takes, he's going to get punished. The Black Dragon form seems like a good idea, but considering how far ahead RRQ is right now, it's disgusting.
The biggest thing that was just picked up here by BenQ is that Wind of Nature. You mentioned it earlier, Gideon. It's a strong item, right? And that can actually turn the tide of these team fights if they're able to allow BenQ to stay alive. Conceal play coming out, but they're just kind of scouting around here. They know that they don't have much vision.
Wow.
You can hear the roar, by the way.
Vince Diggy does have Divine Glaive. And with just two dodge 2 time bombs. He's able to put Kautisi down to 80% HP. That's a tank. This guy's the time bombs. They hurt.
They really hurt. It's
Look at
shocking.
that.
Wait, is this an engagement where you see? Oh, Sanford, he had an opportunity. Really good Guardian's Barrier, but no follow-up so far. Kaltisi trying to get into the Lord Pit right now as R7 begins it. And now RRQ, they secure the Lord, but now the fight has already begun. The Blackjack and Performance has the steal, the real world manipulation there. Ton for Mini QT. Winds of Nature's ain't going to protect them long enough as the rest of RRQ chase them down. 5-1, 5-2, it's Albert. 4 for nothing in favor of RRQ. Sanji, just hide. Don't show yourself. He's out of here. Skylar almost dying, torn apart. Memories hits.
No.
And Albert, he wants it. Give it to him. Give it to him, Sanji. 1 HP. He's not done. He heals back up just in time.
Man, Albert wanted that kill, man. He was going in deep, but still, it's a push from RRQ.
And now the real world manipulation is out to clear the way. Sanford tries his best. No, he gets pulled back. And now the Lord is in. Maltese tries his best, but Skylar puts the final nail in the coffin of this game. GG, well played. Over for RRQ.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got a series.
We got series.
We got a series on our hands. It's 1-1. This time around, it's RRQ with a dominant game here. And also, the other thing is Sanji just struggled, really, because what ultimates, again, do you take for the best situation when you have 3 great options ahead of you? So, I mean, with all those thoughts here in place, we're going to be jumping into the draft here for game number 3. It's Echo on the blue, RRQ on the red. Bands, very similar here, and right away, snapped up like that. There's the carry in the hands of Benny Q. wants to give it another go.
Efusion, it's...
We've seen this before.
We've seen this before. Same, all right. Oh, so it's Farsa instead. Okay. They want to make sure that there is no way for... there is always a way for them to tag the backliners. Diggy is still open for RRQ Hoshi. That might be off our consideration right now. But what I like about both Lapu-Lapu and Farsa is that no matter what marksman there is for RRQ Hoshi, they have ways to reach the backlines, either through gap closing with the Lapu-Lapu and a one-shot potential, or through a Farsa. Combine them together, no marksman is safe.
This is going to be an interesting one because, again, this adjustment by making sure that you yourself have an artillery mage means that Sanji, even though he's going to be quote-unquote slower to get into the right position, the extra range that he gets from the feathered airstrike could make the difference if we see RQ locking in something like Diggy. But instead, they're going to go for the Beatrix this time around. They're prioritizing having lane control rather than lane dominance.
One thing, too, about Sanji specifically as a player, we know that he loves to pull off those crazy plays with the flicker, right? So with him having this Farsa in his hand, you're going to expect that too. Yeah. Whereas still, even when you lock in this Eve here, you want to be able to build upon the utility mindset for this match, right? You want to be able to do that. But again, you're complementing it with the Yuzhong pick, which we have said in this series specifically, or even throughout the tournament, it's been crucial for a lot of these teams' success.
Yeah, and honestly, if we're talking about success, we have to talk about supports because, again, nobody has revealed their supports and they've just mirrored each other the entire way. I was thinking maybe Karina might get picked up early, or just maybe some foreshadowing, but Echo, immediately take it off. I'm expecting another assassin. There could be a chance that even Lolita might get banned off inside of Echo once more, so it denies R2 a way to disengage from fights.
Or maybe a Martis as well, because those are the heroes that Albert really like to play. You kind of want to have a sustained hero here if you're RRQ Hoshi. Surely the Yuzhong will be eventually tanky, but you're gonna have to have a frontline so that both Eve as well as the Beatrix will have great positioning. That's also the reason why they ban out the Cho here, because they don't want Yaoi to have a hero that can go to the backlines. There's the Barrett's ban. Are we looking for a Ling pick for RRQ?
Yo, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking that RRQ are telling, yo, Kartizi, show up. You have a skin around you. We want an assassin.
Well, I mean, let's take a look at the quote here, and that might be the story, right? Carl Teasy, I think we're the best team. I'm a team player right now, so I don't care about the stats or MVP. I've been there. He's been there, he's done that, right? Carl Teasy, I'm the best jungler for M4. So even though that's the case, oh, good solid last ban, by the way. Ziggy's taken out. There's the Grok.
I mean,
come on, Echo. Give it to him. Give it to your boy.
So it's Atlas to go with, okay, are we seeing like Hayabusa or Link this time? Coming up from Echo.
Come on. I'm so excited here. I can't wait to see Call TZ on an assassin. He showed up big time. He's been there, like the quote says, during M2.
Yeah.
If he locks in Lancelot here and wins this game on his own skin, that is just, beautiful. Ow.
It's in the account. Oh, no. Okay.
Well, he's kind of like a ninja, right? I mean, a guy, depending on what lore story or skin you lock in, right? So they lock it in. On the other side, though, Albert will be picking up the Hayabusa.
And it's the Dragon Warrior against Tai Lung once more. I mean, it's frustrating to see because I really wanted to see Carl TZ bring it to RRQ in the assassin department against Albert of all people. But yeah, as the boy says, he's such a team player.
Yeah, I know. He did. He transitioned into that.
On that point, right? That's what makes these teams so scary is because you've had either... A lot of the times it was the junglers carrying teams, right? But teams that either play for their jungler or their jungler plays for their team, that's a big thing here. So this is kind of a different, I guess, for a lot of people that have been following Carl TZ specifically, they might want him to play assassins, but if this is what he feels like is the best for Echo's success, then that's what's going to be played, right? So, but is it going to be able to compare against Albert in the jungle on the Hayabusa? We've seen amazing things before, but let's load up into game number 3. It's 1-1 in the series. Who edges ahead here?
Oh man, if you're looking at the choice of Albert, right, going for Hayabusa, surely it's great. Like, we're excited to see that. We want to see Albert being activated as assassin, but man, Atlas, Akai, Lapu Lapu, man, it's difficult to play a squishy hero if you're RRQ Hoshi. There's so much control and so much damage that can come out from those heroes.
Not only that, Wolf, but with an Atlas across view, when do you usually see no purifies from the other team?
Yeah,
that could be deadly.
That is a big observation here. Vin already getting stunned up. I'm surprised that Vin doesn't flicker it out just yet, but yes, there we go. He gets out of the tough situation. And, coming back to that Atlas, I think we've seen many, many times, and in a couple of international competitions last year, that Atlas has really turned over some games in the later stages.
Yeah, definitely. And this time you have what? Heavy Spin as well as the Fatal Links. You can switch between the two, or what you will use as your first in when it comes to your initiation, right? What do you use first? You can use Heavy Spin first so that the Atlas will have a better ultimate afterwards, or maybe use it afterwards. So the Echo composition is really backing on the damage output of both Farsa and Bandicuti, and they have the tools to make that work.
Well, I think on top of that, if you are playing this Atlas, if Clay can find the Death Box positioning in the right moment at the right time, then you can use that to your advantage, right? You are now forcing Echo wherever they decide to respond and set up with the Fatal Links, then hey, you can go ahead and set up that box and hopefully profit off of that, especially with Grok here for Vin, right? We've seen it before, it can happen, but right now they've got to kind of check those boxes, and with the first turtle of the game coming up, Yaoi's not level 4 yet, so you're going to see this kind of unfold here.
Yep, Furious dive coming in from R7. He's right on top of Call TZ, forcing him to use his ultimate as soon as possible. And even Sanji really high up there with the Feather Ash. Call TZ all by himself in R7 will find first blood. And here comes Yaoi getting into the middle of it, finds 3. But Sanji, he gets 1 already. Vin is so low, but they cannot get it. And now R7 with a double kill in the bag.
Great exchange from both teams. Echo starting with Sanford poking the Hayabusa, putting him low, forcing the Quad Shadow. But then again, Echo was forced to utilize Carl TZ's ultimate far too early. The reset was there for RQ, and then of course damage coming up from Clay's ultimate afterwards. Fortunately for Echo, they have Yaoi's ultimate available there. He got level 4 just in time to pop the flicker and the Fatal Links onto 3 members of RQ. Then Sanji dealing the damage. In the end though, RQ still gets the turtle.
Wait, does he know? Yeah, I'm pretty sure he saw Yaoi actually walk between brush to brush here, but he's going to open it up, sees Vin, backs away. Skylar, once again, just needs to maintain control, but Benny QT has been doing such a good job. He's looking for the trade, and now he might get the solo kill. Almost secures it. One more auto attack would have procced and would have gotten the kill.
Great response from Skylar there, not to go down. They don't want to give that advantage to either of these gold laners, right? They're going to be battling it out here. And we know, again, how scary carry can be, especially if you get those kills, but Yaoi going to be the focus, gets out of here just fine. Still, again, RRQ holding on to a very minuscule gold lead, but I mean, objectively, they're where they want to be, right? Yeah. Continue this up, farm up, and just keep responding, putting pressure around the map.
And Skylar not flickering right at the get-go. It allowed him to also force the flicker onto Benikudi. And the reason why he felt very tanky up until the end is because of the fact that the outer turret energy shields in the gold lane provide 30% damage reduction. And Skylar forcing another flicker and not dying kind of means that the bottom lane is still equalized.
I'm more surprised you weren't freaking out that Sanji was about to die there. He gets, I mean, overall, Albert is putting quite a bit of pressure, and I would argue is even opening up the map to a certain degree. But let's see down bot side, Tier 1, the shields are getting farmed out for the time being, but Echo, as we mentioned before, just wants to focus on the farm.
Yeah, I'm still wondering too, you know, the fact that there is no Purifies here for RRQ. If they're just going to completely rely on their reaction time, right, to get out of danger or to have that, basically, I like to call it the athletic flicker out of those bad areas, right? Because, yes, if Yawi holds on to it,
oh, wait, Zephyr! He actually flies clean. He's going to get this kill, but no, the real one manipulation gives him a shield. He ends up dying regardless. Feathered airstrike. Now putting R7 out of this fight. Black Dragon form in the middle of it. Is he really willing to play with death? Shaw residue already propped with Sanji from this point, but Blackline now in trouble. Cartese ends up dying. One shadow into the shadow kill by Albert. He's still alive. Finn, what can he do? Forced the flicker out of there. 2-for-1 trade in favor of Echo.
Oh, man, Echo. That was against Sanford opening up the backlines. Previously, in the first turtle fight, it was against Albert, but this time it was against Clay. Even after the flicker coming out from Clay, we know the one-shot potential coming out from the Lapu Lapu to take out the Eve. Eventually, the follow-up of Yawi allowed for Echo to win the battle afterwards. Unfortunately, though, Albert was still very good with the retribution.
All right, let's pull this back for a moment here because I'm trying to figure out where Echo is going to eventually plan their attack on their map. It feels like they're playing defensive, right? Yahweh's opened up the map, but then how does Cartese make this play?
Well, I guess that what they are waiting for is to at least equalize when it comes to the turtle fight, then activate Benikudi. So to answer your question, later on, around 8 minutes time, when you can have Benikudi deal the damage with 3 items, that is where you strike. Until this point, Echo, everybody's just buying time.
I'm holding you to that 8 minutes on the dot.
yeah, we'll see if Wolf predicts that correctly, right? And the curse doesn't affect him here. But still, going back to the point, I mean, if Benikudi can just farm up, great thing, right? That's exactly what he wants to do. Him and Skylar, same scenario, right? None of them have gone down. You see, though, how much of time is actually put on the gold lane for both these teams. You guys mentioned this in the draft. If you can have someone babysit the lane, great. Now, it's a little bit different because Diggy's not constantly there. But still, even Yawi's paying attention to that lane, trying to give any upper hand possible to their gold laner is the best thing that could happen for both of these teams because even, yes, there's 200 gold there. It really doesn't mean much for RRQ, but they have the objectives, right? If they can get this next turtle in about, 10 seconds, then that's great for Albert and the squad can transition into the Lord takes and really set themselves up for success here. Echo, though, knowing all of that, Sanji having 2 kills early on, the burst damage is going to be there. So as long as RRQ can avoid that burst coming out from Echo, Sanford with the setups like this.
Oh, I mean, Sanford, he wants it, but the fact is he's got no ult now, and now Albert might have a free kill in his hands. He's walking up Black Dragon form as well. Wall charge doesn't connect, but there we go. Albert secures it. R7 now in some trouble. Cartese pushes him out of position, and now in a 2v1, R7's lead is just enough, but on the bottom side, almost soul kill. Skylar is bringing him into it, and now Albert is going to secure the kill.
Oh, he got it.
Now that's just disrespectful. Okay. Skylar was just being disrespectful. You put respect on Benny's name.
Skylar, I would have really commended what he did because he baited Benikudi in there. The TPs were uncalled for though.
You want a TP?
Yeah, there wasn't any escape anymore. Unfortunately, Skylar, that's 100. He already did 100 level play, but then he went down because of those TPs. However, though, I want to say, RRQ Hoshi, great understanding of how to take turtle number 3. What they did was to stay in the bottom bush, in a right side bush in the middle, and then it was only R7 who showed himself to Sanford. After Sanford already committed the bravest fighter onto the Yuzhong, that's when they strike.
Oh, Cartese in some trouble now. Skylar, he lands it. Oh, he's so low, but he's still alive. Sanford with the bravest warrior already in the middle of it. He has to get on out there. Sanji's trying to help him out, but Yawi might be able to find 2. No, only 2. As the real one manipulation comes up, they get the kill onto Skylar once again, but they traded kill back, so that's going to be support for gold laner.
That's a good trade right here, but still a lot of unfolded there, a lot of ultimates and resources expended, but still RRQ holding on to a little bit of lead. 1.6k. Wolf, how's it looking in terms of items?
Okay, so we're looking at Skyler just picking up all the important items like Blade of Desire eventually into his second damage item, but he needs a Wind of Nature. Now that's also true with this Bendy carry. So far, we know that they wanted to activate it at 8 minutes, right? So they did. Yawi was able to find an opening to the backlines. And that is one thing that RRQ should be respecting.
Oh, again, and it looks like a repeat of history, but Yawi this time doesn't even go for that engage, and it feels like to me that Skylar is a little desperate after his little mishap down on the bottom side.
Yeah, he wants the kill there. He did pick up the Malefic Roar, so that damage is going to be there even more so now. You know, even though he's got the 2 assists, he wants those kills because he does know as well that Benny Cutie is going to be scaling up, especially past this game.
Oh no, Clay, he gets pulled back, but it really doesn't matter. He flickers on backwards. His R7 is there to cover his back. Nicely done. The teamwork from RRQ to deny the initial engage.
Great teamwork coming up for RRQ, like I said. And this means that they might have the better control of the first Lord of the game. What are they doing right now? What they should be doing right now is to control the lanes first before they engage onto the first Lord dance. So they're using Skyler up to the top lane, bottom lane already pushed out. Mid lane should be answered by R7 or maybe Clay in here.
Yeah.
And it's going to be up to how RRQ is going to control this Lord.
Well, let's see how they're going to, because bot side is already stacked up with a full wave. That tier 2 might be in some trouble, and RRQ don't mind leaving this B. Orange buff being taken away by Hayabusa, but the rest of Echo, how are they responding to it? Tier 2 is already down. They can still let this bleed even more, but now they're going to force the issue. Sanford's walking back into the fight. Conceal coming out from Vin. He's going to take the long way around. Yawi is looking for an opportunity. Albert might be in some trouble. Quad Shadow's out of there, but on the opposite side, here we go. R7 jumping into the middle of that fight. Bravest Warrior forcing Sanford out, but now he flips right on top of Clay. He's down. Benny QT's in trouble. Skylar might have to take the 1v1. The Quad Shadow's already down, and the Shadow kill isn't enough. Albert still alive, trying to get on out there, but Sanford's chasing him down. Yu Song is dead, and that's going to be a 3-for-nothing trade in favor of Echo.
And even the Lord belongs to Echo. What a great play from their side. RRQ Hoshi, they tried to go for the conceal play from the bottom. They wanted to tag Sanford. Unfortunately, that left both Clay and Skylar exposed to Yawi. Yawi didn't find the first jump, however. As you saw, RRQ, they still managed to get away from there, but their position was already compromised. Albert was too far when the Lord was put on to low. And you see Echo, despite losing the first 3 turtles, just control the Lord that's much better than they did. RRQ.
Not only that, but I mean, even that team fight, you saw how much pressure there was from Echo that Skylar actually didn't have the opportunity to get in the positioning he wanted to. He had the defensive flicker out, and now they're dealing with this siege coming out from Echo. They still have the Lord also on the bottom side to work with. They're going to lose more turrets here and have to be forced to pretty much defend in their base. Conceal play comes out, just getting a check here. But the big thing for RRQ, they do have Clay. Their defense, their high ground defense should be pretty good, at least to this point. It's only 12 minutes in the game. Lord is even at half health here. So let's see how this one plays out.
Yep, Finn already using his conceal. He's
Yawi
in the middle of everybody. Oh, well, let's see. He finds one. And now the Feather Airstrike in combination. Petrify onto Benny QT. R7 trying his best. He's in the middle of the fight, but nobody can support him. Albert finds one. Contisi is dead. And now they're looking for a second as they find the Bravest Warrior next. And now with it all, Albert still lands it. But it's no! He hits that! Skylar! Absolute monster, snipes it from halfway underneath the inhibitor turret.
That deserves the Dave sheesh, because he has been waiting for that moment in this game. Skylar finally gets it,
okay.
And that's a massive successful defense from RRQ.
This word doesn't exist, but I'm gonna use it. So many sheeshable moments out there. As you saw Yawi with a jump, right? We saw this as flicker, but look at that combination of Clay and Vin. Guardian's Barrier with a diamond-shaped box. And then eventually Skylar just sniping Benny Cutie. My goodness.
That was clean.
That's the word. Sheeshable.
Good Lord, oh man. I don't know, these Beatrix players are disgustingly good. Well, a little too good for my taste here. I want to go back to some of that basic stuff. I feel bad about myself now.
Goodness. Well, I mean, at this point, they've turned it around. RRQ, they had to defend the high ground. They did. Yes, they lost a couple turrets, but they profited off of it, right? I mean, they have that defense, they get a couple members of Echo down, and now you can see that, right? With that swing, that pendulum swing, momentum in their favor, they just have to be cautious with the setups from Yawi. That's the biggest thing here. The next Lord is going to be up. RRQ is in a good position to actually take this one, and Echo knows it.
How about that? There's Sanji and Yawi up top. Through a bush, you have to be careful about this, and RQ doesn't have vision of that. Skylar already utilizing this this Renner. Just make sure that they scout out additional members. And I think that RQ has a little bit of the same idea. They want to control the outside bushes, like the Lord Dance. Look at them. The Lord only has 2 heroes, and everybody's just dispersed.
Look at that. They're waiting for that conceal play. They got Benny Cutie there on the top side. Carl TZ still going to bounce this Lord around here, keeping everyone, RQ on the hunt. They're trying to figure out where the other members are. Lord half health, here comes the conceal.
Yep, Yawi's coming in. R7's already looking to engage Clay. Once again, is this a repeat of history? No, they back off. Now the real one manipulation. Wall charge as well. Already hitting 2, falling into Renner's apathy. It's all over now. As now they try to jump in. Zephyr turns around, finds Skylar as well as Finn. They push through. Benny finds it again. Taking out Clay. A triple kill. Absolutely shredding through them. But now they're chasing them down. How many can they find? Echo is looking for some as much value as possible, but R7 tries to turn it around, but it doesn't matter. Benny QT hasn't even used his Winds of Nature and flickers for it. 4 for 2 so far.
Benny Cutie, the hurricane of Echo. You saw how it was activated in that fight. They utilized Yawi as well as Sanji from topside with a concealed play, and it's almost a repeat of history. But then again, after Clay already utilized his ultimate, and then Albert is no longer a threat to the carry. That's when he was able to rise to the occasion. He found 3 members of RRQ, and the Lord Dance was perfect from Echo, especially because Call TC won the Retribution battle against Albert. My God, that was the disaster for RRQ Hoshi because of Benny Cutie's calamity.
Not only that, but the fact that they waited patiently for the conceal play, and now it's again RRQ on the defense.
Yep, TZ in trouble here. Oh no, Clay's in trouble. He can't do much about it. He doesn't have any of his battle. Yawi finds it, and now they have a double kill. Zephyr cleans it up. They're going to be ending this. Echo takes game number 3. GG. Well played.
Benny gets his eyes on the crystal, and he doesn't hold back. He goes right for it. Bring in Echo to 2-1 in the series. It's match point. Placed, it puts you at a disadvantage. So I'd love to see how this draft unfolds here, specifically for RRQ, and what they've learned up to this point.
Going to be really fast on this. The Kaja, the Eve already banned out, the Joy as well as the 1-1 banned out for the side of Echo. But this time we are seeing that RRQ have decided to be on the blue side. So let's see what that first pick is going to be. I'm expecting Eve or Carry. We'll see what Echo wants to leave up.
They don't ban out the glue. I think we see RRQ take glue
100%.
right away.
And that means that Echo might be considering banning out the carry this time. Or if they give it up, they now have better trades. Because when you pick up the carry on RRQ's side, you can get the glue on Echo's side. So that's a better trade for Echo. Then again, they better carry. So you go glue this time for RRQ Hoshi, or do you pick up the ground?
I feel like even though glue is good, we've seen Echo whip out the Dire off a couple of times.
Yeah, Farsa Grok, I think, is the opening here.
Farsa Grok? Okay, they got the Farsa. Let's see if this next one is going to be the Grok.
Well, what else do you answer the glue with, right? There's I do agree with you. The Dyroth is actually going to be a good pick. I think they are going to pick it their third pick, because there's a big chance that RRQ Hoshi will just ban it out in the second phase. So maybe that's the last pick of the first phase for Echo. For now, they're really thinking about the Grok. I do want to say though, the team that holds the Grok in the series loses the game. So that's
what you're going to say.
Yeah,
you're going to stick
so
by that too.
Stats don't lie though. Games 1 and 3, that's RRQ, and game number 2, that's Echo.
Oh boy, I can't wait to see the overall stats for Grok. But hey, you know, Lapu Lapu actually getting locked in here. I'm kind of into this.
Yeah, it's good. It's good because Sanford is really amazing with it. Knowing that RRQ Hoshi kind of they play the game like they wanted to always peel for their backliners. That's how Clay and Skylar was successful for RRQ Hoshi. Lapu-Lapu counters that too, so that's maybe the idea here for Echo.
Usually in that matchup too, the Glue Lapu-Lapu matchup, I would say more often than not, I've seen Glues get that first blood, and still, that is a very simple step for RRQ to get that momentum they need, because we've seen, I mean, the Glue in the hands here of R7, causing havoc in the back line, especially if he gets that early momentum going. That's a great step to success here and taking us to Game 5. And now with the next 2 picks, look at that. They are going to go with a more proactive roam option. Like we were saying, they're going to lock in the Franco here, and it's complemented with this Faramis pick.
Okay. I'm guessing. I don't know. I could be wrong about this. Cho, thoughts on this, Wolf?
Cho could be good for Echo just because of the fact that it's a flex pick. So you give Vin a hero that he excels with, his counterpart, Yaoi, will get their own pick. But instead, they go Claude.
Interesting direction that Echo has decided to take it. Instead of looking to mirror RRQ, this time they're going to be playing for their own gold lane. And I think a lot of resources are going to be dedicated, making sure that Sanford is almost guaranteed to be on the weak side. A little sad to say the least, but I feel like Sanford has kind of proven himself 1v2, arguably 1v4 sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. And at the same time, I'm wondering, are they going to bait? Okay, there is the Beatrix ban. So really limiting the options here for Skylar.
Exactly, and you're looking for like a combo with the Franco, right? Hitting the Franco hooks, they're amazing. You need damage still. Faramis will not be giving that to you. Maybe a few patches back, that will be the case. For now, both Brody and Beatrix would have been good in combination with this pick. So I wonder with how RRQ is going to supplement the initiations coming up from the Franco. Echo, however, they still have the Dyroth. If they want to pick it up, they can give it to maybe Carl TZ, but knowing that the Lapu-Lapu is already picked up, it tells me maybe Echo will choose a different hero this time to answer the Glue.
Oh, I suppose, but the fact that they banned out Barad, I don't know. It feels like the headspace of RRQ is, hey, Carl TZ is still going to be the problem. We need to make sure that we can secure our objectives, and maybe we can snowball out of control from there. But as of yet, I mean, mid lane, still very open for RRQ, and if we come back in towards Echo's side, they can easily lock their jungler right now. I don't know if they want to show their support this time.
It's the Cho.
It's the Cho? All right.
Give comfort for both of your roamers. Now RRQ, they badly need early game damager. Surely you got already good heroes in your comfort picks. You need to give Albert a hero that can supplement the damage, and then of course Skylar with some early game damage as well to kind of pierce through the early stages, so that they will not suffer from lack of damage in your stages, like many teams suffer from.
You need that follow-up with the Franco hooks, but still, I mean, even the Cho is flexed technically. We don't know if it's actually going in the hands of Yaoi or if it's going to be placed in the jungle again for Carl TZ, right? So they're still leaving that mystery here. Look at that. We're getting an advanced look, right? That's the Irithyll along with the Karina locked in here. Now, Irithyll doesn't have the best win rate. That is 14%. But still, how does this work, Wolf, with what they've drafted so far?
They're all in on early game team fights. They're all in the mid game. With this decision, RRQ is saying, we are gambling. We're putting our tournament on the line in the first 10 minutes of the game. If we don't end it as soon as possible, they will not be able to force the series to game number 5.
Any last thoughts here, Gideon?
Honestly, I'm sweating because I agree with Wolf. This is a bit of a gamble. I will say that Echo's overall draft is looking good. You can feel that Yaoi is feeling it. As long as he blocks a couple of good hooks, it's kind of up to Vin, and hopefully he still doesn't have PTSD from M3, so we'll see how this is going to go.
Biggest thing here is, like you guys mentioned, that timer, right? 10 minutes here. At the same time, this is Cho in the hands of Yaoi. We've seen incredible playmaking potential from that alone. And with Carl TZ picking up the Akai in the jungle, he's going to be just focusing on objectives. This could very well be the last chance here for RRQ. It's match point for Echo as we jump into Game 4.
Irithyll wins the laning matchup for sure. I mean, you want to... It is...
We didn't get to see whether the hook landed or not. Did he get the hook or not?
I don't know. We know for sure, though, that in the laning stages, RRQ Hoshi does have the advantage. Because of the fact that they have Irithyll winning against the Claude, it just naturally, and the Glue, of course, it's almost unbeatable in the laning stages. If they piggyback on that idea. Like destroy Echo's timing with their early game spike. Maybe RRQ has a chance to extend the game number 5.
Echo knows it.
Yeah, I mean, R7, there's nothing he can do. He's going to lose his battle spell here regardless. And arguably, I would say he's about to die as well. And there we go. R7 just greeting out to hit that level 2, ends up dying for it.
That's not how you want to start the game here for RRQ. I mean, you mentioned it, getting baited into it. And still, I mean, at that point, you have Sanford, who again got the MVP previous game, same hero, now has an upper hand, but the kill going over to Sanji on this same hero, Farsa, is going to be deadly, but Benny Cutie.
Yep, and he wants to land it. Oh, the hook doesn't connect. Benny Cutie is able to just sidestep it in that time. The dive fails, they back away, and now the level 4s are rolling in.
R7 didn't respect the fact that Sanji rocks a flicker this time. That's why he was taken out. And minor mistakes coming up from RRQ. It's going to be... So, I guess the word that you use here is compound interest, right? That's what we are. You have to take note if you're RRQ.
Yeah, now look at this situation, right? Because of that death, that does mean that R7 is not going to hit his level 4 in time. The early proxy is going to make sure that they have priority. And now that if they can get mid to push, that would be ideal. But let's see how the situation plays out. As now RRQ trying to get some kind of information as Albert now being threatened by Sanford. He might actually die here. Albert's still alive. Glue ends up dying again. How did R7 die on the top side of the map? Sanji is able to pick him off.
Talk about Sanford and Sanji, the San duo, just making waves here for Echo. 2 minutes into the game, and this is a tough situation for RRQ already. I mean, yes, the gold lead isn't massive, but these minor decisions, these plays across the map are going to cause waves throughout the game.
Man, Sanford's maneuver, after winning the top lane, just because of the help of Sanji, he's able to get level 4 before the turtle fight, for the first turtle of the game. That allowed him to invade the purple buff and make a, put some influence, put some pressure in the laning stage of RRQ Hoshi.
Oh, and that's called TZ getting picked off immediately. Echo. Oh, wait. Oh, so very close, but here comes the Feather Airstrike. Flickering forward, he's guessing. Skylar is still alive. This could be a potential dive. Yaoi, he wants it, he finds it, and gets the kick. Benny QT almost finishes him off. Yaoi takes the kill. Unfortunately, Finn finds the iron hook. Clay pulls him back, kicking back and forward, and Albert will secure the kill.
You see that? You can't get away, Yaoi. We've got 2 pulls. He tries to run away, but also the highlight there is that Albert was able to pick up that kill. Big pickup here, Wolf.
So you saw that they were able to take out Carl TZ after what would likely be a snag coming out from Vin. Eventually, though, the dive, flicker in coming out from Sanji, forced Skylar to be very low, and then Yaoi found the opening under the turret. Good thing, though, for RRQ, they have found some trades with Albert getting 2 kills.
Yep, and now they're going to be walking up. Echo looking to invade Albert, but they don't want to commit too much in this situation. Now, let's talk about the lane states, right? Because Vin, he's trying to make something happen. Oh, Clay, good Purify. Doesn't get kicked out of position.
That's a good thing they have that. You were talking about the lane matchups here. I mean, this one specifically, Sanford's going to have the upper hand here. As we're seeing, I mean, R7's got to kind of make his way back from that deficit now in the early game. Again, Wolf, you called 10 minutes here, and it might turn out to be even less than that. But still, turtle up, RRQ in position.
Now Feathered Airstrike already being used super early on. They're just holding them hostage. They know that Sanford is ready to jump into the fight. Yaoi finds the initial engagement onto Albert. He's in trouble, but Sanford in the back line making a tough Cartesi. Locks Albert down. He's finally dead, but now the rest of the team is here. R7 with the reinforcements. Yaoi might be in some trouble, but finally it's going to be Sanford who ends up dying. R7 is able to secure his own kill onto Yaoi, and Benny QT is on the run. Skylar doesn't want to be a part of this fight, but the Bound Mirror image is going to juke them out.
Wow, what a move coming out from Benny QT getting out of there. And even the fact that he threatened for a kill onto 3 of the members of RRQ Hoshi. It all started with a stack though.
Well, he's going to get pulled back. The Feathered Airstrike should be able... Oh, actually, there we go. Magic Worship going to do the last tick of damage.
Yeah, that burn does hurt, right? Able to secure the kill there of Sanji. That's 3 kills now for him. Yeah. Going to profit off that, build in. Let's take a look at the items, how this is playing out here, Wolf.
So at least a little bit of an advantage for the Karina, but with all the casual items like the Dreadnought Armor and the Molten Essence, there's no full item yet for the Karina. That's why they're not yet able to actually teamfight with that. And then, of course, Irithel, you need more items. Your Windtalker, eventually the second item will allow him to dish out the damage already. So that's the power spike that you're looking for RQ. Benny Cutie though, with 0 deaths and 2 assists, and the Avarice is now in a very comfortable spot. DHS, eventually Golden Staff. You can imagine his farming speed to go off the roofs when he gets that second item.
Okay, let's talk about, okay.
Oh, Yawi! Oh, he almost finds the angle of the kick, but Skylar is able to get out of position in time, locked down with the Bloody Hunt. Yawi might be in some trouble here, but Call TZ looking locked down. Skylar, the Feather Airstrike is coming in through, but the Call Ultra keeps him alive until he's gone. Benny QT now, with all the green lights, comes in, and it's pretty much done for the side of RRQ. They cannot survive this kind of aggression. What an execution from Echo.
Absolutely good chain of events for Echo as they utilize their lineup into its full potential. Yawi with the flicker, going in forward first. Surely he missed away the dragon, but that allowed Echo to get into position. Then goes Kautizi.
Oh no. Albert, he's in so much trouble, but he should be tanky enough to actually survive all the damage. It's getting close, and here comes Sanji. If he sees him, he might be done with the Feather Airstrike, but on the top side, Call TZ all left all by himself, sacrificing his life for hire as Albert on his way to secure this turtle. What a move from RRQ!
Oh, wow. What a punish, indeed. You saw that there was a lot of focus in the bottom lane. They found it, Vin!
He's gone. He's gone. Nothing to say about that. Well played. Great punish from Vin.
RQ picking up wins where they can, and it also looks like a little miscommunication from Echo too. Yawi has the vision here, but still RQ finding now it's the 2 turtles they've got a little bit of gold lead. They just have to figure out this Sanji problem. If they can get that, shut him down, that's going to be another big play for RRQ.
He's going to walk up. They don't realize that he's there because of the conceal. He throws up. Oh, the hawk.
R7 though.
R7, he's pushing them out of position, but they're working as a team. This could be the turnaround now, but Call TZ can't seem to find the angle just yet. They're going to focus on their jungle and back away.
Every bit is intense in this game because you're watching Vin. Maybe he lands a hook. I don't know, right? We're all watching.
Bloody Hunt onto Call TZ already started off, but Yawi's looking for an angle as Sanford jumps into the back. Nobody can stop Sanji with his Feathered Airstrike except for the Call Ultra. Skylar running for a slide battle mirror. Image takes it back. Sanford now left to die. Yawi can't help him out. Sanford is able to hop on over with the help of Sanji. R7 still on that chase. He's sick of it, but Yawi is able to stop the aggression.
I can't believe no one died from that exchange.
Like how?
So much back and forth and just masterful disengage from both teams there. But still, RQ holding on to this lead. They can play around with it, right? Still, if they can focus Sanji, if they can get a Bloody Hunt or a hook on him, they're going to profit massively, Wolf.
There was a lot of explosions in there, and he's surprised that nobody died. Bloody Hunt onto Kautizi, a prime target. You want to go onto it, but he survived afterwards. Then Benny Cutie finds up BMI after the fact that the Paramis ultimate was already down. Kill threat of the Earthump, but wasn't able to find it as well.
Oh, Yawi's looking for an angle, but again, Vinda doesn't punish him just yet, knowing that he has the Shunpo. However, the mid lane, we do see Sanford. He's getting himself out of there. Again, the aggression pushed back.
This match is electric. This particular game, everything is so close.
It's
you can
so
feel
high
it.
Stakes.
The tension, not just in the stadium, but in the game as well. Now this Lord being worked on here, half health.
Oh, he hits Call TZ, and now Sanford has to save it. Feathered Airstrike as well, but R7 gets into the back line, forcing it out. They got Irothel. Sanford has done it. He's dumped the damage, and now RRQ are on the run. R7 is still in the middle of it, but a double kill coming in from Sanford is more than enough. Call TZ is trying his best with a Hurricane Dance. He's trying to push him, but it's too late. Benny QT in the middle of it gets 3 already. Sanford, a triple kill all by himself.
Maniac make it, and now Albert the Focus gonna be able to survive, but his team is taken care of.
Sanford literally destroyed RQ in there. The zone out with the combo. This is why they first picked this Lapu Lapu. He won his laning stage. He was able to pressure Albert, and then in the most important team fight for Echo, the first Lord of the game, he was able to tag Albert, take him out with the bravest fighter, the combo, then gets a double. The kick from Yawi allowed Echo to take that Lord despite Kautizi being grabbed by that glue. The kick from Yawi displaced Albert, and this is a massive victory for Echo.
Right now, Still, Lord going to be on the bottom side. They're going to continue to get these turrets across the map, opening it up for themselves. Now they have the lead of 2K here. And at first I thought, Sanford was going to say, hey, Sanchi, you can get the MVP this game. But now they're competing for it. RRQ has to have an answer for this.
Yawi, he finds the kick onto Vin. They want to take one by one. And unfortunately for Vin, there's nothing he can do about it. Nicely played by Echo. Good bait from Sanford as the outer turrets will fall, and Echo will slowly creep their way in towards those inhibitor turrets. No big ultimates as of yet. RRQ can actually defend this relatively well here, unless Skylar gets picked off. Cartesi gets pulled back, but he's too tanky to actually be punished for now. Albert, he's walking very close to the fire, but again, 1-0, all outer turrets are destroyed.
All right, so RRQ still in this game. It's 4K ahead for Echo, though. The time is up that you mentioned, Wolf. You said 10 minutes. I think Gideon agreed.
Yeah.
We're now at almost the 12-minute mark here. Is there any saving grace in terms of items or even macro play that RRQ can do to turn this game around here, Wolf?
Well, it's just really the hook coming out from Vin if they find an opening, right? And I think that they are focusing on Cartesi so much. Surely it's great in the first few minutes of the game. Yeah, they can take out the Akai, but I think it came to a point where when you go on to Cartesi, there's a lot of supports coming out from Echo. And when you try to take attack hero, you put a lot of resources into taking out Cartesi.
Did he just flicker?
Eventually get out damage.
Look, let's just move on from that. We're just gonna let's look at Cartesi, man. He's looking good. He's looking good. Let's pretend that didn't happen.
Yeah, as you were saying.
Yeah, you were back to what you were saying. 85 seconds on Vince flicker. Yeah, that was totally there for sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
All Wolf can say is, yeah, wow. All right. Goes back to the game. Yeah. Yes, that is a detrimental for this Lord fight. It's going to be up now in about 6 seconds here. Echo, great positioning as they get set up. You're going to have to keep an eye as well on Yawi. He's going to be looking for the right target. Skylar having a very tough game on this Irithyll, even with that sprint. Clay trying to get some vision. And it's the same setup that we saw in the previous game, but this time it's just Yawi in that topside rush. They're just waiting. Can RRQ do this?
They're just waiting for this fight. I mean, Echo is baiting it out. They're going to reset topside. Yawi finds the kick on to Skylar once again. Call Altar. It's not going to be enough, but they have a spin. Will lock down Vin once more. It's just timed out, and now Clay is just left all by himself. Left in the hands of Benny QT with 2 down. That's a free Lord.
Yeah, we finding a big opening onto Skylar. I wonder how he got that, but RRQ wanted to bait out the Lord and Echo just styling on them. It really looked easy for Yawi to do it.
I mean, that's just, at that point, the positioning of Yawi there, he knew that the best angle for Skylar to come from was that top side because you can just pop that sprint and kind of run around, hopefully to find a member of Echo, but it just didn't work out for them. Yawi sniffed it out. He knew exactly where to be, and they focused on Skylar. And again, this begs the question, is Irithyll the weak link here in this lineup for RRQ, Wolf?
In the latter portions, I would say yes. You understand why they picked it up. It makes a lot of sense when they did, but they weren't moving as if they wanted Irithyll to be successful.
Well, let's find out here at the very end as the inhibitors will fall. Feathered airstrike already down. Echo is going to take as much as possible. However, the mid as well as the top side have not collapsed at the same time. R7 is doing a very good job at keeping it alive, having a bit of a pillow fight with Cartesi. Nobody really winning there as the mid lane now clash, but Yawi, does he find the angle? He finds the kick onto Vin. They're trying to collapse on it. The Bravest Warrior is already in, but Skylar slows them down with the Queen's Call. Heavy spin activated with the call. Altar the backline being attacked. Albert as well, trying his best. Feathered airstrike comes back off a cooldown, but he gets stunned up. He has to move away. Top side is already destroyed, and a 4v5 has been already down. Falls into the favor of Echo. Benny QT not even participating in this entire sequence of events, and this could be a potential kill if they find the CC. Oh, Cartesi, you're just teasing Yawi, trying to go for it. Again, gets the kick onto Albert, and now the blazing duet activated. He's still alive. Queen's Call trying to clear those waves as soon as possible. Sanford, you with the Bravest Warrior again. We're seeing 3 ultimates. What's that? Now in trouble. Has to use the wings by wings to get on out of there. The Bravest Warrior is down. No more Sanford, and the defense complete.
You can't imagine to be the Skylar. Surely he died at the end, right? But it's difficult to play this Irithyll. threat by Yaoi, threat by Sanford, threat by Caltisi. Everybody targets Skylar. Eventually, after 3 tries with Sanford's opening, they have found him. And Neko, with all of the resources they have so many ways to engage RRQ Hoshi. It looked really bleak for the Indonesian squad. They had to pull everything just to survive there.
Now, I mean, at that point, it looked grim. They held on, but at what cost? Again, back to the question, is this Irithyll the weak link? And was there a better option here for a gold lane or a marksman pick? Because so far, it really has not been working out for RRQ.
I think regardless, the hardest part about this is that feathered airstrike coming in from Sanji. Like, it deals way too much damage. And unfortunately for Irithyll, yes, you can be fast, go quick, or go home. But in this particular case, walking up is way too dangerous. And Yaoi, I mean, what can you say? He just lands the kicks each time. He literally says, just hit it. And he's like, okay, sure.
How did he get his hands on the Cho again, right? I mean, that's another big question because you talked about it. One feathered airstrike takes Skylar to basically half health, if not 1/4 at this point. So we're jumping back into the game here. Massive lead for Echo. Still looking to close this series out here. RRQ trying to hold on to keep this series going to Game 5, but at this point, it's looking bleak. Anything that sticks out here, Wolf, in terms of the items and how they can help here for RRQ?
I think the lack of the blade armor on Karina, they only have it on Vin. I think they need to against the Claw. That's the natural way to kind of counter it. While on the side of Echo, you have 2 blade armors on 2 frontliners, Karchis and Yaoi. What this does is to really nullify Skylar even more. He's already scared about like the damage output and the initiations coming out from Echo, but even his unstoppable, uncontrollable damage that you take out from the Irithyll is going to be a threat.
I think the biggest way they stay in this game is have another moment where they somehow get the Lord here.
Benny's there.
With the truncheon! He's managed to survive for a little bit longer, allowing Sanford to actually turn this around onto Vin's head. They find the trade, it's not worth it, but Yaoi still has the way of the dragon. They can do something with this Caltisi in the middle of the fight. He's absorbing damage, and now pinning R7 against the wall. He's trying to get on out of there, and immediately, this might have just turned.
They know where Benny is.
Oh, do they know where Benny is? No, he's going to recall out of there. He's going to be fine, but this buys a little bit more time for RRQ and Echo. They see what's going on. Now, because of the recalls, they're threatening the Lord. They've checked the brushes. They know nobody is there, and even Clay making sure that there is no angle for Yaoi to get on in.
Look at Benny.
It's going to come down to a 50-50 here. Albert versus Caltisi. No, they reset it. Sanford is threatening Clay. Whoa, okay, yo, Clay, you're getting too low. He's about to die, and Sanford flickers for it as the rest of the team looks to push on forward.
Oh, they're going to get pushed out of the base here. You saw Benny Cutie also pushing that mid lane. They have to respond, and this could, because of those decisions and Clay being down, Echo now in a position to take the Lord.
Way of the Dragon already onto R7, can split, saving him. No, the feathered airstrike from Sanji, able to take him out. Sanford is on fire. Albert locked against the wall. Occult Altar already popped. They're resetting the Lord just to get into the middle of this fight. Skylar, he's trying his best to dish out damage, but those blade armors are making a difference. And the Queen's Fall isn't enough, and Sanford gets his ult again. Clay has to get on out of there. Ghostbusters ain't enough, and Sanford is going to slowly make his way forward. He takes on one, and now the end is nigh. Albert is still on the run. Can they do anything about this? With so many minions on their side. Yaoi is already down. Pulling on already onto Benny QT, but Benny QT! Benny has done it! Wow. A game to make history. Once again, the Filipino dynasty goes on. The grand finals has been set. Echo loud, Echo proud. GG, well played.
The storm cannot be contained in this series, and a force to be reckoned with here. This Echo squad, definitely Echo loud, Echo proud. And it's a sad day for the fans of RRQ in Indonesia, as unfortunately they won't make it to the grand final here in M4.
Let me teach you a word that doesn't exist once again. Endable.
Endable.
It's not in the dictionary, but at least in Echo's vocabulary there is. They knew the call. There were so minions out there, ushered by Bandicuity. And when RRQ looked at that, gonna have to give it to Clay. He defended that one with Ghost Bursters, but in the end, Bandicuity found the opening. He went out with the BMI, got back in with the help of Carl TZ. The last HP of the minion allowed them to push that one back, and Echo goes to the finals because of that.
Now, they say their final farewells. That is RRQ, but you have your second grand finalist making their way down the stage. It's Echo from the Philippines.
The kingdom has fallen, Echo securing the last grand final slot. And again, a rematch. Back from the MPL Philippines Season 10. It's going to be the defending world champions, Blacklist International, versus Echo.
Even when you look at that last match, RRQ didn't have the right to kind of be strong even in the latter portions of the game. We said that they had to end it by 10 minutes. We said that their power spike is going to be just dawning.